Sis, you know I got this real dysfunctional relationship with my with my clicker, right? All right, so sis, today is, you know what today is, sis? I had to think about it myself. These days sometimes they run together as much as I do the best that I can to do some distinction between them. Okay, so sis, today is Wednesday, right? And traditionally, they call this hump day, right? I really like Wednesdays though. I think I've talked about this before. I think that I've talked about how much I really like Wednesdays. Like, I like every day, sis. Let's be clear. I like every day. I've learned to just like everything. You know, I'm serious, man. I know. And that's a part of it that we're gonna address today. Because people are starting to make these, assertions about me that are not necessarily true. And I'm doing the best that I can through these videos to kind of, just give clarity to what it is that I'm sharing here, right? But there's always that space in between what you say and then what people hear, right? And I can't do all of that work. I can't do all of that work. I do the best that I can to use direct communication, right? Okay, so today is Wednesday, and I do love every day because mostly at this point in my life, I've had the opportunity to learn that it's just easier for me to make peace with things than to go at a constant struggle with them, right? And just necessarily, and I'm always making a very clear distinction between joy and happiness because I promise you, they are not the same thing, right? Joy comes from this internal place. It's inside of your soul. You can tap into joy whenever you darn well please, right? Because the fact that you have breath and blood in your body, that's enough to be able to tap you right into that experience where you are feeling a great level of joy, right? Especially right now, while we're under the coronavirus. The fact that you can breathe, right? Without any restriction, without any complication, that in and of itself is a complete and quick way to find joy. It's like bam, bam, right? Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, right? I love it, right? So joy is very easy. Happiness sometimes can be a little much sometimes because it comes with a contingency, right? The word in and of itself, that's that blueberry, it might slide out a few times, sis, we ain't got no perfect relationship, sis. I'm progressive. That blueberry might come back. I hope that it doesn't. It's really gross. But anyway, right? So we have to make a clear distinction between joy and happiness, right? So happiness comes with this contingency, right? It's like this thing where something has to happen. Something has to happen in order for me to be happy, right? There has to be something happening. Someone has to, buy something from me. Someone has to give me a compliment. Someone has to want to work with me. My children have to perform. The people around me have to do something. There has to be this specific happening per se, right? We're looking for these happenings, right? And that is how we create some level of happiness based on these series of happenings, right? That's how we experience happiness. Something has to be happening, right? So I'm not saying again that we should not set our intentions so that we experience a high level of happiness. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that happiness is good for you, right? But I'm just saying that when you cannot tap into happiness, right? When it's not available to you because something in that moment is not necessarily happening to feed into your happiness quotient. It's just not happening at that moment for whatever reason. Whatever it may be, it's just not happening. Maybe, actually, you may be experiencing something so far from happiness that it feels a lot more like irritation, frustration, irritability, disgust, pain, some of those words, right? And that might be happening at that time, right? It might just be happening. That might be one of the experiences that you're having. That's an experience that I sometimes have to come, in alignment with too. Sometimes something is going on and I don't necessarily like what's happening, right? That doesn't mean that I can't tap into my joy because I can tap into joy at any time from any place, anywhere, in any reason. I can tap into that place, right? So oftentimes I'm getting these questions about you can't possibly be this on every day. The real question, the real challenge is not so much that I am happy all the time. It's not that. It's not that I'm happy all the time. I'm most of the time joyful all the time because joy is directly attached to my gratitude and I can find a reason to be joyful very quickly. It doesn't stop. I can do the joyful alphabet, sis. Like I can just go down the list and that'll just change my mood, right? Really, really quickly. But sometimes things happen that I don't necessarily like. So when it comes to the days of the week, right, and how I am able to show up in such an intense way and show up in a way that it appears that I'm happy every day, it's not that. It's that I've tapped into joy, right? So today is Wednesday. I really love Wednesdays because sometimes it really feels like I'm still just getting into my week, even though I do a whole lot of setting intentions and being clear about what I want on Mondays. And then on Tuesdays, I'm going to check my feelings, but now I'm starting to move into the task. But Wednesday, somehow I'm just moving a whole lot faster. I have more energy. I have more clarity. And I'm like, I'm doing it, and I'm doing it well, right? All right, sis. So we're going to be having more of these conversations in the 5-day money therapy challenge, making sure that you're tapped in and you're tuned in and that you are having some of those internal conversations to make sure that when you make a decision about your money, it is a decision that is expression, right? An expression as opposed to a suppression, right? That's something that I really like for my clients to get really clear on. I like to have clarity about that. Like they'll be coming to me and saying that, hey, this is something that I want. And sometimes I'll ask them, well, why do you want this, right? I'll get them to plug in on why do they want this. And sometimes when we plug in, right, sometimes I've had some of my clients, they may be going in their 401k, borrowing against their 401k so that they can get this expensive car, right? And when I look at their budget and how that's going to impact their overall finances, right? It's not going to work out well for them. It's not that they can't have it. It's just that they can't have it right now. It's just not the best time for them to get this right now. And sometimes they're not ready to accept that right now is not the best time for you to make this financial decision, to make this financial purchase, right? And sometimes they're irritable and they still want to do it, whatever the case may be. And of course, it's their money. They do as they please, right? But what I do offer them is a series of questions, right, to help them to get clear. Why do you want this? Why is this something that you are desiring, right? And oftentimes after we spend maybe about 15 to 20 minutes on that question, right, sometimes the reason why they want something is because they're still in a sibling rivalry, right? They're in their 30s, they're in their 40s, and they're still rivaling with their siblings, right? So that they can uphold this hierarchy of being first and being best and feeding into the superiority. And that's not what you want to spend your money on, right? That's not what you want to invest your money in, to continue to have to really have this constant need to be in competition with the people that are within your surroundings, the people that are in your family. So you want to do some of the work to disconnect that, to make sure that when you buy the car, sis, it's because you want it and only you want it. All right, sis, I'm about to find my clicker because that's what I do. We're going to be doing more of that in the 5-day money challenge. Make sure you click that link in the bio. I'm going to use my clicker and I'm going to be proud of myself. I hope you're proud of me. Oh no. It won't stop. You see? Like it won't stop. I'm over it.